President Uhuru Kenyatta is in Mombasa on a working holiday. We saw him open a KDF shipyard, touted as one of the biggest in these parts of the world. ODM leader, head of the Azimio la Umoja movement, Raila Odinga, is also in Mombasa. Political pundits are reading something. What is up? It is normal for the two to be in Mombasa on their own, although for this function they were together. It could just be coincidence that Raila was in Mombasa and his brother asked him to accompany him. But, as they say in politics, nothing just happens like that. There is no coincidence in politics. And therefore, we must begin asking ourselves, what could these two guys be up to? Indeed, major decisions will be made in this coastal town. As they chew a leg of turkey, wash it down with a glass of the finest wine, and perhaps a tot or two of something good, for those who call it good, decisions will be made. 2022 August 9th is close, and these decisions have to be made. People are wondering, are we going to have the running mates decided in Mombasa? Those who look at it that way are saying it has been a difficult thing for Raila Odinga. That being supported by the president means his deputy must come from that place. If you are bringing in Kalonzo, it means you must disappoint him. But it's not just coming from the mountain. It's being whispered. The big boys with the big bucks, with the big money, are pushing PK, Peter Kenneth. And other people are advising Raila to look further than PK. To look for somebody who comes with political capital. Somebody whose name on the ballots will ease your way around the mountain. So people are looking and say, okay, fine. As the two gentlemen move around on government projects, they will be deciding the running mate once and for all, if they haven't decided. They will be putting things on the table to do with the next year's election. They will be looking at intelligence reports and what those reports say about the campaign of William Samoei Ruto. Remember this. In history, we learned that major decisions that have shaped the world in one way or another are never really made in the boardroom. Decisions that run a country are never made in cabinet. And thus, the growth of the term kitchen cabinet. Decisions that affect wars and nations were never really made by the King's Council. Neither were they always made in a formal meeting. The decisions leading to the Second World War, made by the major players, the Western Allies, Churchill, Roosevelt from America, Stalin, they were never really made very formally. In fact, before, during, and after the war, decisions that shaped the war, the post-war decisions that created the modern world, that divided the world into East and West, where one side of the Allied forces, led by Stalin, went into a Cold War with the others, Britain and America. They were never really made when these gentlemen met. Some of these decisions were made in formal meetings, over telephone calls. So it will not be surprising that far-reaching decisions from Mombasa will be made. So that if you are expecting Raila and Uhuru to make a major decision after meeting at Harambee House, you are wrong. After meeting in State House, Mombasa or Nairobi, you are wrong. There will be people, shakers and movers, who would coincidentally bump into Raila and perhaps Uhuru, just bump into them while they are enjoying lunch somewhere in Mombasa. That man who is in just by coincidence joining them and even staying no longer than 10 minutes with them could be carrying the most important message that will lead the two gentlemen into making a major decision. So, from where I sit, and I'm sure there are many other pundits, I believe the decisions that will shape the next phase, which is the actual election phase, will be made in Mombasa. Remember, February people are moving. The law requires public servants, ministers, and all those other people in government to move by 9th of February. The law requires people to move here and there. So there will be movement, major movement. That is going to be a subject of discussion in Mombasa between Raila and Uhuru.
Let's be very honest. We stop this hypocrisy and pretense here. Tunajifanya hapa. There are things that we can talk about and there are things we cannot talk about. Sisi tukiwa Nyanza hapa, we are one. Na tumekuwa pamoja siku zote. We are one people. Ama namna gani? Kwetu ni hapa juu. Na ndipo tumeongea pia na tuliongea vizuri sana. Tumekubaliana sisi wote. Na mzee wetu Prime Minister Raila Odinga ndiye anatuongoza. Na tumekubaliana safari hii sisi watu wa Nyanza tutasimama pamoja kama mtu mmoja. Na tutasimama sisi wote pamoja. Sasa nikisema hivyo nimefanya makosa. Na mimi sicha kuuliza wewe ruhusa, unipee ruhusa mimi nisimame pamoja na Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Sicha kuuliza ruhusa, unipee ruhusa nisimame na Mheshimiwa Rais. Mheshimiwa Rais is my boss. Ndiye amenipea kazi nifanye, akiamuru vile tunaenda. It is logical mimi nikiwa waziri wake wa usalama. Mimi napiga laini mahali Rais amepiga laini ama namna gani? Hapana. Tufanye kazi. There is a way in which a country is led. Tusisikize hii maneno. Hawa watu mambo mdomo tu kila siku huku kelele kusunguka, hakuna kazi. Walikuwa wapi wakati tulikuwa hapa? Sasa watu wanaanza kujifanya hapa. Oh, mimi nimemletea ile, nikamletea ile ingine. Ile poti ilikuwa huko. Wale watu niliona wakati ile poti ilianza kujengwa, walikuwa Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta na Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga. Tukiwa pale kuamuru tuanze kazi. Na hiyo poti imetengeneza ikakuwa. Sasa watu wameanza ni msunguko tu. Mtu karibu sasa waanze kusema unajua mimi hata hawa watoto wenu mimi ndio nimewasalia. Ai. Wakenya tunaelewa hii maneno vile iko. Tuache porocho, tufanye kazi ile tumepewa tufanye. Na tuache propaganda. Wananchi tumekubaliana. Basi tukae pamoja vile viongozi wetu wanatuelekeza. Na tuweke amani. Wakati huu ni wakati wa kuweka amani.
We want them to decide. Matiang'i, Mucheru, Wamalwa, and the other cabinet secretaries. You must decide whether you are going to serve the Kenyan people and prepare our next general elections together with IEBC in a non-partisan manner, or you are going to be agents and mobilizers of ODM and the opposition. It is also unacceptable for the person in charge of the entire police force in Kenya, the Minister for the Interior, and his defense counterpart, to purport and to be seen as partisan at this critical time. Kama mumeshindwa na kazi ya kulinda Wakenya wote, na kufanya general election in a fair manner, in a non-partisan manner. Mutoke, muvae badge ya ODM, muende mkuwe agents wao.
Nataka kumuuliza Wafula Chebukati. IBC is independent. You have no business calling Fred Matiang'i and Mucheru to a meeting when it is in public domain that they have already taken sides. They are not independent to plan elections with them. So we want to ask Wafula Chebukati to do a letter to President Uhuru Kenyatta and outline clearly the mandate of the IBC as an independent institution and why the IBC cannot work with ministers who have clearly taken sides and become campaigners and youth wingers of Raila Odinga. And he must tell the president to move those people from those dockets if he must keep them in the cabinet for the purposes of the election.
CS Matiang'i and CS Musheru. Those two public servants have made a public declaration about the candidate they are going to support in 2022. And therefore, they do not have the competence to superintend elections this year because they are partisan. We want to tell the two ministers, step aside, allow non-partisan independent body to conduct elections. Because once that happens, the Kenyans are going to have faith in the electoral system.
Musheru wakati wake umeisha, huyu Matiang'i wakati imeisha, na nasikia anatafuta viti huko. It should never happen, Your Excellency, that people who are serving the public take sides. We cannot trust them, we don't believe in them, because they have already branded themselves as ODM. We are the Kenyan public, we are paying them, and they...
The man, the woman who will step in to finish the term, to be minister, to fill in the vacuum left by those ministers who have resigned to join Ruto. The name of that man or woman is being decided in Mombasa over this Christmas holiday. So those who like to lobby, my advice to you, quickly board a plane and go to Mombasa. Find a way of getting close to these two movers and shakers and put in a word for your person if you want them to be minister. Because many ministers will leave, some ministers will leave. That vacuum cannot be sustained for 6-7 months. People will be made ministers. So yes, the decisions we are likely to get from Mombasa will affect the 2022 election in a way many people will not want to imagine today. In fact, in the early days of January, the kind of announcements we are going to get will shake and shock the country.